Experience a membership that backs your business journey with American Express Business Platinum. Earn 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy a welcome offer of 200,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean.
Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at jif.com.
The first half of the film is brilliant, and even when I watched it this week, I still love it. The second half, not so good. I think if it was just set in the camp, it would be, a 5-star movie.
I really like how just the film makes you feel so uncomfortable in moments that you're not expecting. Like, I'm watching a conversation, then someone will make like a racist remark, or there'll be an action, and you're like, I was laughing, but now I'm horrified. And okay, but now I'm laughing at that. I quite enjoyed that tension, but I was like, I'm not really getting anything new thematically from this.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher podcast. Today I'm joined by Babs.
Hello.
And Fran.
Hello.
And Helen.
Hi.
And we're going to be talking about Full Metal Jacket. Thank you as always to Mighty People for their mighty tunes, and thanks to Ben from Rockwood Audio for editing this podcast and all of these episodes he does for us so kindly. Please do remember to head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating and a glowing review. Also go to Pocket Casts and do the same thing. Join in the conversation with us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod and all the other social media platforms such as Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram at Flixwatcher.
Hello film fans, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher podcast. Our guests today are Babs and Fran. Over to you please, Fran, to say hello to our listeners and tell them a little bit more about who you are and what you do, please.
Hello, Flixwatcher fans. My name's Fran, and I am the co-host of a music podcast called Over Underrated. And we have had both of the Flixwatcher co-hosts on our podcast. We discuss music, overrated bands and underrated bands. We usually choose a theme. It could be a location or a genre, and we make 2 Spotify playlists, and we discuss, is that band or artist over or underrated?
I can't remember. Did I talk about hip hop? So it was
did.
Jurassic 5, was it?
And unfortunately, Puff Daddy.
Yeah.
And Puff Daddy.
Yeah. But pre-allegation. Yeah.
But that was overrated.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel I'm happy with that choice.
You're fine. You're not cancelled, Kobe.
Yeah.
It wasn't a pro Puff Daddy podcast.
Tomorrow, just in the car and Spotify, I put on Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. I was just like, I used to like, that was the one song I think I liked of his.
Yeah.
But mainly it's because of the guitar.
I mean, it was a good sample. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
But we do talk about the outrageous music videos as well in there. So that's fine. That has nothing to do with his personality. So it's okay. You can still go and listen to it.
Yeah, the Godzilla soundtrack was brilliant. Shame about the film.
Yeah. There's a few of those. We had one recently, the awesome soundtrack for Batman and Robin, was
Forever?
Forever.
Batman
Forever's the one
yes,
with
yes.
Smashing Pumpkins and U2 and that one.
Yeah, that's my favourite U2 song ever. Hold Me Through Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me on that. And it got me into U2, and then I went to see them live and I was like, oh, I don't like them as much as Hold Me Through. And they didn't play that song because, of course, it's not one of the biggest songs.
But you will be happy to hear, Kobe, that we have an episode on U2 and we talk about that song. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are they over or underrated?
We ask if they're overrated.
No spoilers.
We ask if they're overrated,
perhaps.
but you don't know what we actually think until the end.
Okay, I like it. So, you introduce yourself, Babs. Yeah, please.
So I'm Babs. I'm the other co-host from Over Underrated, and today I picked Full Metal Jacket. Why did I pick this film? Because I am a general Kubrick fan, not as big as many people out there, but I'm not a huge fan of war films in general, and I felt that for pop culture's sake I should really finally get round to watching this, and I thought this would be a really good chance to talk about it with people who I have no idea what your opinions would be. Like, not, obviously I know a bit of your film tastes, but not in that much depth, so I don't know whether you're going to like it or not.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of war generally.
I love a first time watch bringer. It's always like, ooh, when you've never seen it before. It could go either way.
So before you'd seen this, which other Kubrick films had you seen?
Clockwork Orange, Eyes Wide Shut, Dr. Strangelove, Barry Lyndon. I think that might be it.
So not...
The Shining?
Shining, yes, Shining, yeah. At school.
Okay.
Shockingly. At age 15, thanks to my very progressive teacher, shout out to Mr. Archer, we're still friends on Facebook.
For what subject?
One of my teachers brought in The Godfather for us to watch. I was like, wow, this is actually an amazing film. I just always written it off because the title is really boring.
Yeah.
But when I saw the film, I was like, this is actually one of the best things ever.
It can really shape you because he was my English teacher and he was a very cool English teacher. He wore black and swore and smoked cigarettes.
Like from Dead Poets Society?
A bit more edgy.
Right, okay.
A bit less earnest, I think. But he really kind of would slow it down frame by frame and be like, oh, do you see, for example, how now the knives are over the boy? That's because he's in peril. That's what symbolism in a film is. And I was like, mind blown. Like, what? Film can be more than that. So, yeah, that's what started it off for me.
Fair play. So, you've brought it because you haven't seen it before, which I always think is very brave. But also, you kind of validate it in the fact that you've seen everything pretty much else from his.
The big hits, I've definitely seen, yeah.
Because I've not seen Barry Lyndon. It's one of those I'm like...
Oh, I like it's great. Oh, I see Fran shaking his head. He's like...
No, I've not seen it either. I've seen most of his films.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Helen, have you seen it?
I haven't, no. It's one of those ones where I'm like, I know I should watch it, but like, when is the occasion?
Yeah.
It's a long film and it's a bit of an epic, so you definitely have to be in the mood, but it's visually stunning and it really is kind of like the rise and fall of Barry Lyndon. So, yeah.
2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh, yeah. I've, again, seen that as well. Yeah.
I remember showing it to a flatmate once and said, yeah, you should watch that film. And she was like, okay, so when's it get good? And I was like, I can understand that.
Yeah.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll try not to recommend films to you ever again. So, you have 60 seconds in which to give the synopsis, and your timer starts now.
So it's split into two main parts, Full Metal Jacket. The first part of the film follows a platoon of US Marines in a boot camp training in South Carolina, particularly two characters, J.T. Davis, nicknamed Joker, who's played by Matthew Modine, and Leonard Lawrence, who's played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and he's nicknamed Gomer Pyle. So the first part is their experiences dealing with this abusive drill instructor called Gunnery Sergeant. The second half is set in Vietnam and follows the Joker, who's now a sergeant, working for the military newspaper Stars and Stripes, and the other Marines that are stationed in the cities of Da Nang and Hue during the Tet Offensive in Vietnam during the war in 1968.
Very nice.
Awesome. One thing you maybe missed, well, I think it's important to note, is that we also see Cowboy in both sides.
Yeah.
I think he's the only other recurring person in both parts of the story. Okay, before we go back to you, Babs, Helen, had you seen this before?
I've seen this lots. I think this is probably, along with The Shining, the one that I've seen the most. I think that's maybe just because it was like on Channel 4 quite a lot. In like the 90s, it was always on like Film 4. So yeah, I've seen it before, but I hadn't seen it for a very, very long time. I've seen the big hitter Kubrick films. And yeah, this is a super interesting one, mainly because it's not filmed anywhere near Vietnam or in East Asia or the Philippines like the other films. It's all filmed in England. So I think having watched recently Apocalypse Now at the cinema and then watching this, I'm like, oh, this is why this has always really looked really, really different to all the other Vietnam films, because it's not filmed anywhere near it. But yeah, it was good to rewatch, and there were some bits that I really remembered. Like I remembered the jelly donuts, but I didn't remember that he shoots the sergeant. I was like, oh, I forgot about that bit.
Wow.
I remember he shoots himself, but forgot about that. And then, yeah, I also really, really, really remember the Vietnamese prostitutes, I guess that's what they call them, and the me so horny, me love you long time, which I don't know why, but was kind of a phrase in the playground because that was the kind of era we were watching it.
I didn't know what this was from. I was like,
that was where it's from, yeah. Me so horny.
This is where racism came from. Okay, yeah.
it's one of those ones where a lot of memories were coming back. And there's also a track on the soundtrack called Ruins, which I think is one of the things that I remember most. And there's just something really, really like haunting about that particular track. So yeah, it was like a weird kind of memory refresh for me in some ways that were like, oh, quite thoughtful, and some ways that were like, actually, I'm not really sure about this now.
Yeah. Fran, how many times have you seen this before, if at all?
I was thinking about that earlier. I think it's maybe my 4th time. I think I see it every decade. I think I first saw it in the mid-90s as a teenager. I thought, yeah, this is the coolest film ever. There's like guns and like, it's got like not dirty language and all that sort of stuff, you know. And and I was 15, people were unfortunately quoting a lot of the dialogue. I remember the Two Live Crew sample.
Yeah.
And that became massive in the early 90s. This was probably my first Kubrick film, I believe I saw. I think I went kind of backwards. I think I did this, and then The Shining, and then Clockwork Orange, and then Lolita Spartacus.
Oh, Lolita as well. I was like, there must be more, because obviously he didn't make films that often, but he wasn't like not prolific either.
Yeah, I think 50s and 60s is quite prolific. Then he sort of slowed down in the 70s, and then one film every decade after that, wasn't it, really? But yeah, the first half of the film is brilliant, and even when I watched it this week, I still love it. The second half, not so good. I think if it was just set in the camp, it would be, a 5-star movie. I think the second half kind of just feels a bit flawed, maybe because it's shot in England, and obviously it's a Vietnam film. Means they couldn't really do a jungle warfare, the sort of thing you expect when you see a Vietnam fort. It's set, is it like in a gasworks in like North London? So they kind of were limited to what they could really film. But yeah, I think the second half doesn't really go anywhere. And yeah, I understand that war's bad. I don't need to be told that. But the first part is probably the genius. Seeing Private Pyle's meltdown, I think that's still shocking when you watch it today.
Yeah, because I must have watched it when Channel 4 / E4 / Film 4 did a Kubrick season. I was like, okay, I need to get watching some Kubrick. And I'd seen like adverts, how they used to do adverts when you used to watch live TV. And the image that always like struck me was like when Private Pyle is following everyone else and he's got his pants down and he's got his thumb in his mouth. And I always remember that from the advert and I'm thinking, why is this good then? I don't understand. Is this a comedy? I don't understand what's going on here. But then like people say, yeah, you just need to watch it. So I watched it. And to find out that he like caps himself in probably the most visceral way I've seen up to that date, and I'm trying to think of any other points where I've seen anyone take their own life like that, was like, holy shit, I just didn't realise that was... And he passed through training, but he was abused by the drill sergeant, and I don't know, rightly or wrongly, the guys in his camp didn't take to him because he made them do extra work because he wasn't up to snuff, as it were.
He was the literal whipping boy.
Yeah. That scene where they get all the soap and then he's crying afterwards. It was just like, at the time then I was like, that's brutal enough. And then he takes himself out. But then one thing I keep on thinking is like, that's Vincent D'Onofrio, that's fucking Kingpin. And it just doesn't, I kept on trying to look at him, it's like, you're supposed to be Kingpin, but you look completely different in like everything. And I think Vincent D'Onofrio nowadays, I think, is an amazing actor in Daredevil in that season. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he's a different type of person completely. Really menacing, really powerful. Whereas this, he's ridiculed, isn't he?
Do you think that he was planning on killing the drill sergeant? Or was he just going to commit suicide? I was trying to work it out today. But because he came in, he then took an opportunity to kill him.
Yeah, I don't know. If... I'm trying to work out when he properly flipped. I feel that the film needs 2 parts. Because if he just stayed in the camp, it would have been like, okay, so what happened here exactly? But I felt maybe it could have been spent like an extra 10 or 15 more minutes with the camp and see him unwind a bit more, then flip into the actual war, quote unquote.
Yeah, I think what I found was I was quite, because I obviously do what I think all of us do, which is watch the film, go on Letterboxd, and I didn't know about the whole debate of the first half is better than the second half.
Oh, is that a thing there, is it?
Yeah. Like,
okay.
At least in the top reviews, it's kind of, there's a lot of that. I would agree that like it's more loose, the second half as well, whereas the first half is so tight. But I think what would have really benefited it is just there's no kind of transition between the first half and the second half. You don't know how the death of Pyle and the drill sergeant has affected them. It's as if it never happened in the second half. And I think if that had been referenced or something in between where, I don't know, Joker is debating whether to even go to Vietnam because of what he's seen in the Marine camps, I think that would have improved the film.
I guess the one thing it proves is that the whole first half was complete pointless. When you get to Vietnam, anything you've been training isn't going to help you because it's just complete chaos. I think that's what. So when like Joker actually has a chance to take out the sniper, he completely panics because he's been a journalist for the past 2 or 3 years and completely forgotten everything he taught.
Yeah.
There's also the thing with the second half is there's so many more people who are absolute knobheads that you think, are you a real person? I'm sure there are real people, but they dehumanized anyone from Vietnam. Like that guy in the helicopter is just shooting people down for seemingly no reason. I'm sure that wasn't something he was told to do. That guy, I can't remember what his name was, the guy when Joker first comes to catch up with Cowboy and just steps up to him like straight away. It was like an arsehole straight away. And you're like, why?
Mother, right? Animal mother, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, why? I don't understand what your problem is like straight away, like with Joker. Joker is a bit of a tit as well, to be honest with you, because he makes all his like inappropriate jokes, and that his stupid jokes get him sent there in the first place from being in a kind of cushy-ish position. But he doesn't seem to really care about that either. So in the second half, I'm like, who am I rooting for exactly?
But also, there's no backstory. That we've got no idea why any of these men are here, whether they've signed up, whether they've been conscripted, like how they feel about being there. I mean, obviously they're not enjoying it, but they're not like conflicted. There doesn't seem to be like much confliction. They've just kind of gone, well, we're here. We probably ought to do what we've been told. And I think that's what I noticed is different from a lot of other kind of like war films, is you tend to get like a bit more of a backstory and a bit of a motivation as to why they're there. But I think the reason probably it kind of feels a little bit all over the place is that it's based on a novel. But the novel, I think, there's quite a few things that are quite different in it. So I think where they've kind of taken some of the basis of the novel and then kind of like worked it in, it probably has left with those kind of spaces that we're discussing now a little bit. But yeah, Joker is kind of a weird character because he also doesn't really come into the story until a little bit later. And I was like, where's Matthew Modine? Like, which one is he? Like, I can't remember what he looks like. Which one is he? So yeah, I think the source.
What do you mean? He's right there from the start.
I know, but I was like, is he the main guy? I can't remember.
There was some narration, wasn't there? But was the narration right from the start with him?
A little bit in the first scenes, but it's not overly narrated.
Yeah.
But I guess because Apocalypse Now kind of does that to death, I think you have to kind of like put away from having narrations in a Vietnam film date really after Apocalypse Now.
I still haven't seen Apocalypse Now.
Oh.
That's for another episode.
That's a long film worth watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is the thing, because I came into this being like, okay, I don't really like war films, but this is Kubrick. I really enjoyed Dr. Strangelove. But what I found, I was like, this is the same themes that you see over and over again in war films. Military world dehumanizes, war and violence bad, toxic masculinity bad, even if there are moments of moving camaraderie, which there aren't very many here, and the military-industrial complex in the US is bad. And I was just like, I was really expecting him to do something a bit different. I guess the only thing that felt a bit different from other films that I've seen, and I guess, I'm seeing this now and not in 1987, it obviously influenced a lot of films since then. Like, I really like how just the film makes you feel so uncomfortable in moments that you're not expecting. Like, I'm watching a conversation, then someone will make like a racist remark, or there'll be an action and you're like, oh, I was laughing, but now I'm horrified, and okay, but now I'm laughing at that. I quite enjoyed that tension, but I was like, I'm not really getting anything new thematically from this. And I felt that Joker was very like, I don't know, philosophy 101 of like, yeah, man, I've got the peace sign, but like, I was born to go. I was like, what is this? Like, this is like very teenage boy who's read like a, an intro to philosophy book. I don't really believe in that. But then, yeah, again, seeing people being like, oh, wow, it's so deep. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
But I guess Joker doesn't know who he is. So in that scene with Private Piles, he pauses and then he hits him with the soap and he joins in. So sometimes he's a good guy, sometimes he's the bad guy.
But actually that's the only part of the first half where he is the bad guy, because he's actually quite nice and supportive. He's helping Pyle. You feel like a bit above and beyond what he has to do because he feels sorry for him, and then it's like, all right, because everyone else has joined in, I'm joining in too. Okay, fine. But that's the only moment in the first half that there's some indication of that. So yeah, I think if there was a bit more of that, it would have been a bit more interesting.
I think one thing we need to talk about is the drill sergeant in this, because he is, records, legends state that he wasn't an actor and he just smashed out the park. He was a real drill sergeant, and apparently, I'm not sure if it's true how much he improvised or just got on with it.
A lot of improvisation, yeah.
But from what I understand with like Stanley Kubrick, that's not how he likes to work with stuff. Stanley Kubrick likes to do many takes and things like that. So I'd quite like to, knowing that now, I'd quite like to see how they interacted on how they worked together. Maybe Stanley respected him as a drill sergeant and let him do his stuff because he knew what he was doing. But either way, it's phenomenal. What comes out of that is genuinely phenomenal.
Through the Starbucks College Achievement Plan, full and part-time Starbucks baristas receive 100% upfront college tuition coverage so they can focus on achieving their dreams, not how they'll pay for school. And those dreams might start with a degree in management, biochemistry, or any of the more than 150 offered. At Starbucks, benefits like college tuition coverage are just the start. Learn more at starbucks.com/partners.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher. All new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This is an ad.
I hate
An ad for crisp, refreshing Angry Orchard hard cider.
That is refreshing.
An ad that interrupted your podcast.
I hate being interrupted!
To remind you to stop being angry at me and crack open an Angry Orchard.
That's a good idea.
Don't get angry! Get Orchard. Angry Orchard Cider Company, LLC. AngryOrchard.com. Please drink responsibly. Angry Orchard is a hard cider with other natural flavors.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
I think Kubrick said that he thought he was absolutely brilliant. So he'd just let him just fly with the dialogue. I think it's at 50-50, apparently, is what I read today regarding dialogue.
Yeah, and also he would rehearse separately from the rest of the cast so that when they came for real to do it, their reactions were genuine. They'd not rehearsed it with it, so they didn't know what was coming, which would have been absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
And then having Stanley Kubrick direct you as well at the same time would have been equally as terrifying. Unsurprisingly, talk from the set was that it was a difficult shoot for most of the people involved.
I felt really sorry for Vincent D'Onofrio because he literally he fell off some of those equipment sometimes, didn't he? And again, knowing how Stanley Kubrick shoots, he would have done that many times to get the right kind of take. And I was just like, holy shit, this is pretty dark, thinking about how it's done behind the scenes.
Have you seen The Frighteners?
No.
Yes.
He recreates that exact character in The Frighteners, but as a ghost in 97, which is worth a watch if you're a fan of the film.
Or Vincent D'Onofrio does?
No, R. Lee Emery, the drill sergeant.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen Biloxi Blues, anyone? The Matthew Broderick. It's kind of the same film, but set in the Second World War, and you've got William Dafoe as the drill sergeant, basically. He's also twisted. But if you want another film similar, with a slightly more comedic effect, check out Biloxi Blues. It's my favourite Matthew Broderick film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
More so than Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do love that, but I think I've seen it too many times, and now people like Babs taint it for me.
I think it's one of the most overrated films ever. I could not believe it when I saw it, how bad it was.
Yeah, but you saw it in your 30s. I saw it when I was 11.
Yes, I think that makes a difference.
Yeah. I remember Ferris Bueller coming on and I was like, oh, this isn't a cartoon, and it's not an action film. It's not got Arnold Schwarzenegger, so why am I watching it? And then it's like, oh, this is great. But I know a lot of people are like, guys, Ferris is a dickhead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But what a soundtrack.
Exactly. First time hearing Twist and Shout. Anyway, is there anything you want to say, guys, before we head to the scores?
This might be controversial. I didn't think Vincent D'Onofrio was a great actor in this. I thought it was really exaggerated. Like, when he starts going crazy, he's like, "Arr!" And I was like, I felt everything else was very tight. You know, as in, like, I was almost happy to go to Vietnam in the second half, which is crazy, just because that's how awful it feels as an experience. You know, you feel like you're being drilled by him as well. But I thought when he wasn't going crazy, he was a good actor, but it was a bit much for me, which took me out of it a little bit, actually, towards the end when he was going crazy, because it was like capital C crazy. But I don't know if you agree.
I think my main thing there was like the turn into that. Because at one point he was like, for 90% of that first half, he's being the whipping boy. 5% of it, he like suddenly he's found this thing where he's actually a good rifleman. And then the last bit, he's like speaking to his gun and like joking cowboy, like, hey, he speaks to his gun. But no one's, to me, that's like almost, I'm sure a few people do that to kind of just center themselves a bit. I'm not sure that's a sign of outward, like, of the direction he's going to end up in. It's just more like that's how he gets into his zone with a rifle, and he kind of works with it quite well. And then he suddenly kills himself, and you're like, not sure how he got there, but it's still, I'd love to have seen that in the cinema, watching it with everyone for the first time as a 7-year-old. But
there must be so much stuff like edited out. He probably had loads more scenes of him going crazy, but then I just thought, guys, I said Willem Dafoe, I meant Christopher Walken earlier on Biloxi Blues.
Oh, okay. When you said Willem Dafoe, it's like, my mind was like, how does that work exactly?
I mean, they don't look too dissimilar. But,
yeah, they're both kind of...
But he is in Platoon, so if you want to get in a Vietnam film, yeah.
I guess we should ask the quote-unquote other Vietnam films that we should consider. Platoon being one of them. And Academy Award-winning Platoon, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, I think Oliver Stone. Yeah, Casualties of War is a very good film with Michael J. Fox and Sean Penn.
I've seen Born on the 4th of July.
I've not seen that. What kind of freaks me out?
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump, definitely.
Forrest
Ding,
Gump.
ding.
Yeah. And of course, Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
And Hot Shots Part 1 and 2.
What's the Spike?
Oh, The Five Bloods. Yeah. We've had that on here. Yeah. I mean, also, I think you can't talk about Apocalypse Now without talking about Hearts of Darkness, the documentary that goes with it, which I also watched recently. And I've had a bit of a mixed relationship with Apocalypse Now. It's taken me a long while to kind of get there with it, but there is nothing like it. It is completely untouchable in terms of like being the ultimate Vietnam film. And I think having finally got there after probably like 3 or 4 watches and then watching it with the documentary as well, it's something else. It goes places that this film didn't even bother to even get on a plane and go to, I think, for me.
It's interesting because I think one of the reasons why I haven't really bothered with Apocalypse Now, beside it being a war film, is because the book it's based on is in the Congo and not in Vietnam. And I'm like, blimmin' Americans, like, making something about themselves. Well, why do not have Belgians making a film about the Congo? But, I know it is very hyped, and I do generally get around to watching hyped films, although I actually haven't seen Forrest Gump and have no plans to.
What?
No, absolutely. It sounds saccharine as hell. I'm not interested. So.
We've had Forrest Gump in it, haven't we?
You can have joy in your life. It's my favourite film of all time.
Sorry, Fran.
I think like you can go through life not having seen Forrest Gump. I think that's fine. But Apocalypse Now at the cinema, the director's cut, the really, really long one.
Redux.
Was that last year? I think I saw it in the cinema last year. The full fat Redux 4-hour version, maybe.
I saw it at the Prince Charles, and it was just like, oh God, I'm gonna have to give this 5 stars.
Right, let's head to the scores, guys.
I'm Sam Clements, host of the 90 Minutes or Less Film Festival, another podcast in the Stripped Media family, a podcast that celebrates movies under 90 minutes long. Each episode, I'm joined by a special guest who selects a movie to join our prestigious lineup. Past guests have included fellow Stripped Media family members Martin and Sam from Song by Song, and Kobe from Flixwatcher, and Dave from The Wire Stripped. Search for us now on the app you're currently listening to this podcast, or join us at 90minfilmfest.com.
So welcome to our Flixwatcher scores, and the scores are out of 5, and you can have decimal places if you wish, and we'll start with you, please, Babs, because you picked it.
So recommendability, I put 2, because I thought, for the war fans and the Kubrick fans, I would recommend
it. So that noise was, ooh!
Repeat viewing score, 0.5, really.
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
Jumping ahead there.
Sorry.
Spoilers.
Fran.
I didn't know you could have half scores, so I will say...
You have as many decimals as you want.
Okay, thank you so much. I will have the recommendability as 3.5. I think it is a very well-made film, one of the best Vietnam films. Not perfect, but it's definitely worth watching.
Helen.
Yeah, so I think had I not rewatched it coming into it, I probably would have been about a 4. But having rewatched it and having watched a lot of other war films, not just Vietnam, but other war films, and recently watched Apocalypse Now, I'm going to go a bit low. I'm also going to go a 3.5. I think if you haven't seen it, then you should definitely watch it. But I think it just kind of lacks a lot of the things that we've talked about, particularly in kind of like the setting doesn't quite feel authentic. Some of the characterization feels a little bit thin, and I don't really know what it's trying to say. Like even in War is Hell, it kind of isn't really saying that. It's kind of saying the training is really, really bad, but like Joker seems to be having quite a nice time out there. He doesn't seem to really like find it War is Hell. So it's sort of like War is Hell, but a bit like, yeah, it's not great, but what are you going to do about it? So, 3.5, I think.
I'm in a similar position to yourself, Helen, that had I not rewatched it, the memory of it would have been on a higher pedestal than it is now. I'm not going to take it down that much. Maybe would have started with a 4, take it on 3.75. The training stuff is really good. And, what it takes down, not so much the language, it's more just there's no one to root for. Apart from maybe Cowboy, who's very much out of place when he becomes the leader of the troop, having no idea what to do with the sniper, and then all those people just kind of, that guy, what's his name?
Animal Mother, just like taking control and also jeopardizing everyone as a result of it. The Animal Mother's such a...
Did you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger turned that role down?
I can completely see that.
For Running Man. Having a German accent would have been kind of weird, but there you go. Well, Austrian accent.
No, but the Running Man, he's the lead in it, isn't he?
Yeah,
Whereas he would have been like on it for like 20 minutes. Plus then, had he done Predator at this point?
No. Because this would have been filmed in 86, wouldn't it? Apparently, Robert De Niro was going to be the drill sergeant and Bruce Willis was going to be Joker.
It would have been such a weird film.
Very different.
Such a weird film.
So 3.75. Babs, 0.5 for your repeat viewing, or have you revised that?
No, 0.5. I think not because I think it's very bad. You know, I've been a bit, let's say, neutral about it. I think there are things that are good, but it's just so relentless, you know? The racism in it is just so difficult, which is like, I know it's really, you know, that is very likely how people talked, but just the constant relentlessness of that throughout, on top of a film where I'm like, yeah, I've seen these themes before. I'm like, I'm very glad to have watched it. I will recommend bits of it to people, but I wouldn't want to watch the whole film.
Which bits would you show to people?
Well, do you know, like, I think the thing that really made me want to watch it actually was the shaving scene right at the beginning, because I was like, this is so effective. It's so simple and effective, but just immediately from the off, you're like, oh wow, yes, they are becoming dehumanized. And I just thought that was a really original way to frame it. So definitely that one.
There was in Police Academy 1, there's a similar kind of shaving scene. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Ages ago, yeah.
And some of the troops go in there, get their heads completely shaved, and one just goes in there, goes, "You can have a short back and sides, please." And everyone like turns around to him and goes, "What?" And it's like, you don't have to have your head shaved to be a police officer. Don't know which one came out first.
84th Police Academy.
Oh, is it? Okay, so...
I'm sorry, but I know that fact.
You're just envisioning Stanley Kubrick taking inspiration from Police Academy.
Okay, so repeat viewing score, Fran.
A 3. Like I said, I end up watching it every decade, and I kind of forget a lot of it, so it's a nice rewatch. But yeah, you want to have some distance before watching it again. It's not a Christmas Day movie, is it really? So yeah, a 3 is fine for me.
Just before or after the turkey?
Yeah.
Helen.
So for a Stanley Kubrick film, it's quite short. It's only 1 hour and 56 minutes. So for him, this is
easy,
super short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not going to watch it again. But then I did watch it a lot because it was just on all the time. And that's how things were in those times. So I think I'll probably give it a 3.
I'll give it a 3 as well. I'll watch it again, I'm sure. I think this is only my 3rd or 4th watch viewing anyway, so yeah, I think like Helena I don't quite remember the sergeant being shot. I don't know if that's something that was cut out of like the Channel 4, but Channel 4 didn't tend to cut things out like that, so it must have been.
Yeah, that's a
But maybe it's just usurped by generally never seeing anyone's brains being blown out by themselves before. I think that was just like, I've seen people being shot before, but no one doing it themselves, so that's probably the overarching memory of that shot.
I'm thinking, like, I've definitely seen it, like, in other films since, I can't remember any off the top of my head. Like, that really was quite shocking.
Babs, small screen score.
I'm going to say 1.5, just because I think it would be much better in the cinema, for sure. Because I already felt claustrophobic and anxious watching it on my TV. And I think with the cinema, with the atmosphere of watching it with other people as well, like, I think it would be much better. So I'm giving it that, not because I thought it was bad to watch it on a TV, but I think it would just be so much better on a big screen.
Fran?
Yeah, I give it a 2. I'm just thinking, I'm surprised I've not seen it at the Prince Charles or anywhere. There's not been like a big 20th or 30th anniversary release that I can think of.
I'd be surprised if they don't do Kubrick seasons. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, Kubrick was quite
I'm going to have a look now.
particular about things, wasn't he? So he might not have allowed repertory cinemas to show it that much.
So yeah, 2. I mean, if you can't watch it anywhere else, then watch it on your tablet. But yeah, it's best. I guess it would be a much better on the big screen.
Helen?
I was just thinking what Stanley Kubrick would think of us watching this on anything less than a cinema. Obviously, I didn't know him well, but I could probably imagine that the thought of him having his films watched on laptops or on a mobile phone in your commute would probably not have gone down well with him. I don't know. Maybe he would have embraced technology. I'm just trying to...
I think he would have preferred it to the 14-inch VHS TV combo that most of us probably watched it on.
They were so heavy, weren't they?
My laptop screen is way better than ever was. That took to university.
I'm going to give it a 4. I've only ever seen it on the small screen, but I feel that it would look really good on a big screen.
4.2. It'd be quite fun, I think, on the big screen, but I'm not sure I'd venture out to do so. Engagement score. Babs?
I put 2.5 because I did want to switch it off just because of the themes. I was like, this is such a difficult watch. Like, it's so difficult to watch these poor men going through all of this. And you know what happens in Vietnam as well. But I've put it kind of bang in the middle because I did want to continue watching it. Like, I never was like, oh, I'm bored or, distracted by anything. So straight down the middle.
Fran?
I mean, this is an old-fashioned version, but if I was flicking through the channels and I came across Full Metal Jacket, if it was before Private Pyle's Meltdown, I would stay for that. If it is the second part, I might just keep skipping. So 3.
Interesting. Helen?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.5, I think. It was a bit kind of engaged, and then they go to Vietnam, and then I was a bit pretty sure this is all filmed in England. Let me have a quick look at those locations. And then that was it, really. And I had a little bit of letterboxing, and I was like, oh, it's not finished yet. And I was like, oh yeah, ends like that.
I'm so gullible. I never, I did not realise that at all. I was like, yeah, this could be, I don't know.
The helicopter scene, was that also in England?
Yeah, because there's electric pylons in the background. I was like, pretty sure someone should have picked that up and maybe digitally raised it. Oh no, it was the 80s. They wouldn't have done that. They were just gone, it's there now for everyone to see.
I mean, I didn't pick up it as the UK, and I'm not overly fussed it was, so that's not going to stop me watching it. I'm going to give it 3.8. I think that's mainly for the benefit of not being at least a decade since I watched the last and not remembering where it goes. I can't remember who died at the end and who survived. I kind of remember thinking Joker must survive, but yeah, he did. So 3.8, and that gives an overall score of 2.92188, which I would have thought it'd break the 3 barrier.
Sorry, guys. Bringing it down.
The repeat viewing score mainly was what took it down. Thank you very much, Fran and Babs. Can you tell us where we can find you guys online, and we'll say goodbye to the listeners?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Over Underrated Music Pod. We're at OU Music Pod on Blue Sky. We have given up the ghost on Twitter for now. Or you can even email us, especially if you have ideas for guests or if you have ideas for themes. It's overunderratedmusicpod@gmail.com.
Perfect. Fran, anything else to add?
Give us a follow and please give us some topics because we keep doing Australia somehow.
We've done 4 Australia episodes
Any
now.
new locations or topics, give us an email.
Is it? I'll give it Australia. Well, you don't want Australia, do you? But I was going to say
we've done New Zealand as well.
Kylie versus Danny.
Oh,
wow, that would be. Who's underrated? Who's overrated?
Oh, Danny. Danny's got some bangers. Who do you love now? Great song.
All I wanna do. That's what I know.
There you go. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much for bringing Full Metal Jacket.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Enjoyed this episode of Flixwatcher podcast? Why not leave us a 5-star review on iTunes? You can also follow us at FlixWatcherPod on Twitter, and we're at FlixWatcher on Instagram. Thanks as always to the mighty people for their mighty, mighty tunes and Rockwood Audio's editing skills. If you're looking to get your podcast edited as sweet as this, get in touch with Rockwood, ROKK Wood Audio. Tell them Flixwatcher sent you.
You just heard a Stripped Media production.
Hear that? The next chapter of Audi performance is here. That's the sound of every interior detail refined. And that's the sound of Quattro all-wheel drive. The all-new Audi Q5, the all-new A5, and Q7. Each one a statement. Performance never goes out of style.